Bon dia, Eva Corja, Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat. And this is Fireside Chat 177. As you can see, the format is a bit different tonight. But I will start as I usually do, first of all, with a prayer for peace. Gamara Shiakon fud na crunne, Gamara Shiakon in our Jiley, agus in our Jirha, Ganari Lin, Lenar Kuj Garamaka, Gamwich Buikas Jev, Kwifta, Spirit Kwifta. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in our homes and in our countries. May our missions be accomplished. We thank you, guardian spirits and guardian deities. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffer violence today. May an unexpected serenity surprise them. For all those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. That those who make riches from violence and war might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. That we might see through our fear of each other a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb, that our swords be beaten into ploughshares, and no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the holy mountain. With thanks to John O'Donoghue. So let me see where you're all from. It's South Wales. Yes, Julie, I am in my van in Glastonbury. In a minute, I'll explain where I am. Well, ish. Hi, Alan from Ballina, High River, Canada. Beautiful. Let me see where people are from. Washington, Indiana, USA, Wyoming, Berlin. And I see Lloyd is there. He's from... you're in Glastonbury, Lloyd. Okay. Normally you're in New Zealand. That is great. Okay. Northern Ireland. Brilliant. Lovely to see Northamptonshire, Hertfordshire, Pembroke, Melbourne, Australia. Just lovely to see people from so far away and all sorts of places. So, yes, we are. We are the three levelers who will speak on the level from the levels in Glastonbury. So, yes, we are here for our summer gathering. And let me introduce my guests. They've been guests before on this Fireside Chat. But this time we're outside and I actually have a campfire burning just there, the other side of the computer. So this is Sam Holland and Julie Francis. So let you say hello.
Hello.
So it's just so lovely to be here in Glastonbury, and the rain has stopped. It has been bucketing down all day. I have a leaking van, so I've got pots and pans collecting drips. So now it's quiet for the moment and the wind has died down. So hopefully this will work and the sound will be okay. I hope you can all hear me. Nobody's said anything to the contrary yet. Okay. Brilliant. So this is your second gathering. So what was your first impression of your first one last year?
It was the 60th, so it was pretty special. And mind-blowing. We went to Stonehenge and we are addicted to it now.
Yeah, Stonehenge was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we did a workshop as well.
You did, and I attended it, making votive offerings.
We had great fun.
Just to get back to Stonehenge, because some people say, people who've been to Stonehenge then they prefer to go to Avebury. And then newbies always come to Stonehenge because it's like the special place. It's the one that gets all the... It's the hardest to get into. Avebury is free. You can go anytime. What is it? Have you been back to Stonehenge since? So what is it about Stonehenge that calls you?
Well, I've been past it loads of times. And it's breathtaking as you go past it. And there's always people walking around it. But what was different, I think, was that we were all going there as we had an aim. And we were allowed to get very close to the stones. And we had, a celebration and a ceremony. And, because, I'd never come and you'd never come before. I think that it felt like a community with the stones. And that wasn't something I was expecting. And it was mind-blowing. And when I was trying to explain it to people back home, I must have sounded a bit weird when I came back, but I was like, and you stand there and all the hairs on your body go up on end, and and that's how. And so I'm sort of been yearning to come back. But of course, I've come back, but I've not been able to go in the stones, and so
It's very different when you go as
it's
a tourist.
completely different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I hadn't realised just how big they were because I've never been kind of that close to them before. And they were huge. And as we were driving in, there were somebody on the coach, and there were 2 hares. And there were 2 hares running across
Beautiful.
the grass as we were getting up to it. And that was
And the
very
larks.
special. And the
Oh,
larks
and the sound.
just singing. And it was just, because it was so early in the morning as well, and there wasn't anybody else around. And it was just fabulous.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Well,
fabulous.
I remember my first time. It was bucketing down with rain. It was something else. And I remember everybody. Luckily I had a wax cloak with a hood, so I was dry. And there were people with their robes on and hair stuck. And I remember someone's role was "Hail to you, we welcome you, son," or something. And as it's just pouring down, and everybody erupts in laughter. Well, the sun is there somewhere. But and I've been there other times when it was sunny. I was there for the 50th.
Yeah.
And that was lovely because it was beautiful and dry. So I'm really interested. You're very familiar with Bryn Kettley Dee because you're also members of the Anglesey Druid Order. And I know that's a very, very special place for your order. So maybe it's asking you to compare apples and oranges, but what is it? I mean, I imagine you like that too. So what is the difference? Or
I think it's a scale more than anything else, because Bryn Kettley Dee is quite an intimate space. There's a long walk from where you park up at the carport, down the side of it. But it is actually quite a contained area, and the inside itself is very, very.
It feels very tomb-like. So Stonehenge feels like, because it's
more theatre, isn't it?
yeah.
When you're going, and especially, we consider, Anglesey to be the mother, Morn, the mother, and you'll feel like you're going into her, into the land. So it's much more intimate. But yes, you're right. I think it's the scale of them.
Yeah, and it's almost, although you can feel,
there's a similar feeling, right?
It is. I mean, although you can feel the antiquity in Bryn Kettley Dee, there's something about the openness as well at Stonehenge, which makes it very special. Because at Bryn Kettley Dee, it's quite enclosed instead. But
it's almost like,
it's like a womb, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's exactly what it
It
is.
is. True.
Yeah.
Whereas at Stonehenge, it's just open to the sky, and you can see how it would have been, somewhere where
more of a cathedral.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's interesting, Stonehenge seems to be. I'm talking about Britain now. It's the largest, apart from Avebury, but Avebury doesn't have, say, trilithons or anything like that, and that is certainly amazing. And a lot of people would say they prefer Avebury to Stonehenge. There's or because of the facility to have a closer connection with the stones. And it's fascinating that there's a village in the middle of the stone circle, and it hasn't destroyed the energy of the place.
No, it hasn't.
And that must be a testimony to the resilience and the strength and the power of the stone circle. Because so often, you say we've damaged a sacred site, and maybe it's very vulnerable and it needs to be protected, etc., etc. And then a village has been placed in the middle of this.
And some of the houses are actually built from the stones themselves.
Which is a bit dodgy, right?
Yeah, but I wonder what that's like living in a house.
Exactly.
That has
But also, I don't think it would happen now, right? I wouldn't know. But it's interesting that it has happened, and that it is still just such an amazing.
Yeah, but it's a whole kind of rich. I mean, I know that Stonehenge is a ritual landscape as well. But with Avebury, of course, you have Silbury Hill close by, and then you have the West Kennet Longbarrow.
I love West Kennet
Longbarrow. But that's very Bryn Kettley.
Yeah,
that is very Bryn Kettley.
I remember actually it was the year I went to the Goddess Conference. The same year I came to the first gathering, 2011, and with Howard, my husband, and the kids and friends, and we went to Avebury. But we also went to West Kennet, and there was a group of people. There was a local guy with a group of tourists, spiritual tourists, and we were about to go in, and he said, "Do you mind if we go in? We're going to do a ritual." I said, "Fine." So I stayed out, and then he called. He says, "Would you like to join us?"
Right.
So when we go into the dark, and they're drumming and calling on the ancestors, and oh my God, I was zinging. And then they all left, and I went deeper into it, and I just wanted to stay there. And then there was a Canadian tour guide, some Canadian tours, and it was all he talked about was the actual facts and figures and the dates.
Yeah.
And they took, I didn't realise, because it's dark, but there's a little window at the top, and the previous people had covered it so we could all, journey in the dark, and they took it off. And I got my kids I said, go back and put something over that. And then people started complaining they couldn't see anything. And I was like, hold on, this was my special place in the dark. I have never been back. I was just blown away because I like caves. I like womb-like places.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool because last year, because there were the workshops after the gathering itself, and we'd gone to your storytelling workshop.
Yeah.
And as we came out, we kind of went off and went to visit with Christopher Hughes and the lovely Travis. And I said, we're thinking of going to Avebury. Do you guys want to come? And they're going, yeah, we'll come. So we went to Avebury. Then we went into the West Kennet Long Barrow, and it was lovely company, lovely weather, beautiful places. It was amazing.
Where are you going on Sunday?
Stonehenge.
Yeah. You have a little thing about that, do you?
Do sort of, yeah.
So I was at the Rollright Stones. I was at the East Anglian Storytelling Festival at the weekend, and in Stowmarket. And the weather, glorious.
Yes.
So I was making my way slowly back through Oxfordshire. So I spent a night at the Rollrights. I just parked on the side, and I went. In the rain, I went there, and I counted the stones. And they say if you count the stones 3 times and you get the same number, a wish will be granted. I couldn't believe it. I counted. I got the same answer 3 times because I'd heard about the Rollright Stones and said it's impossible to count them.
Right? Yeah.
There's loads of them.
I'm not going to
tell
me number. Because you can cheat.
Yeah, you can cheat. But I was really, really surprised.
Yeah.
And they give a rough estimate on the sign, but I hadn't read that bit. And I thought, well, I'll never do that. This is just too hard.
Yeah.
And I did. So anyway, I made a wish, but I'm not telling anyone that. So Liz says, I've always wondered what must be like living in Avebury, smack dab in the middle of that. I mean, that's an interesting question, Liz, because, if you've one of those stones as part of your house, maybe, is it a hard place to live, or is it a really beautiful healing place? That it's like some people can come and live in Glastonbury and they just find it's a spiritual home, and others come and they go mad. That it all depends on how compatible you are with the energy of the stones. Just beautiful. And of course, Ferdy, it says if you've booked for the gathering ritual, you can go up to this. You're not allowed, Ferdy, to actually touch them. You used to be able to, because I have touched them, but in recent years, you're not allowed to touch them. No. And I know one of our members wasn't feeling well, and he went over to lean against the stone because he was feeling a bit ill. Somebody came up from behind a blade of grass and said, "Don't touch that stone." So, and then Eunice, hi Eunice. Eunice is from Orkney. The stone circles of Stennis and the Ring of Broadcar and Orkney are older than Stonehenge. Okay, many of the islands have standing stones. I have been there, and they are absolutely amazing. I'd forgotten. Apologies. And Orkney. Well, that's the womb-like piece.
This is
the Ring of Broadcar and Stennis are big stones. And of course, I don't know, do Arcadians think they're part of Britain, or are they a land and island all to themselves? Are really, really interesting. So they were, and I was there at Samhain time. It was just magical. I mean, friends of mine, we did a private ceremony there, but just beautiful. But I also on the mainland main island of Orkney was it's the one with the dogs, the coo. A coo is the Irish or Gaelic for hound, and you have to go in and crawl in. I could go in crouched up. Everybody else had to go on their knees because I'm so small I could do it. And then there's 5 chambers, it said, and they found dog skulls there. Wow. And that blew me away. That was beautiful. And then we went to Rousey, which is one of the Orkney Islands, and it's known as the Egypt of the North. And and I cannot remember the name of it. Apologies for that. There's 2 floors. There's you go down a ladder into another level.
Oh,
right. Like a 2-story passage or whatever it was. Just beautiful. It always makes me. And then I went to, what do you call the other one? Skara Brae.
Oh, right.
And that was really fascinating because that was just unearthed after a storm, and you go. And no trace of the people who lived there.
Yeah.
everything made of stone beds, stone tables,
Yes,
stone shelves.
yeah.
I just
Like little sideboards. With little
that's
holes
right.
in
Yeah, just
incredible.
brilliant.
Have you ever been to Castlereagh?
No, I haven't.
Yes, it's incredible.
Beautiful place.
Okay.
And it's a sort of mixture between Avebury and Stonehenge.
Yeah.
It's got isn't it?
Well, you've not only got the actual circle
bowl.
itself, but you've got the fells around it. So it's almost like a stone circle within a circle.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And it's like
mountains.
in a
It's
bowl,
gorgeous,
isn't it? It's just amazing. Yeah.
Just outside Keswick. Beautiful place.
We were planning at one point to be up there and we'll do it. And then we thought, no, we want to stay here. Tired. So,
but it's a great place to go.
Beautiful place.
Do you know what? There are so many places to go.
Yeah.
And yes. So, Beth Anya, many places with standing stone circles all around the world, but most of the time it's not known. Yes. Oh, Ricky, you're so good. I didn't touch the stones, officer. They touched me. He always lends some gravitas to these conversations. I really enjoy that. So. And Tara, I'm in Alberta, Canada. I've longed to see Stonehenge since a child. I'd be sad not to be able to at least lay my hands on a stone there. I know, but it's all about protection, etc. And yet it's open twice a year to the public, where they have maybe 20,000 people.
Yes, and they do touch them, and they do awful things.
Yes, so that's on the 21st of June and the 21st
We avoid
of
that,
December.
don't we?
Yes,
absolutely. So anyway, so okay, so. And Sergey says we have standing stones in Dolmen in Belgium too. Okay, brilliant. Callanish would be interesting to visit. I haven't been. Someday I would like to go there. I've been to Carnac in France and Brittany, and I mean they're incredible because they go on. It seems they go on for miles, or kilometers in France. And I've been into Gavarnie, which is, or is it Gavarnis? I don't know how you pronounce it. It's again like Philip. Or like the reason why I mentioned Philip, because I'm a bit like Newgrange, and in his novel he describes it and he says not as impressive as Newgrange, or more impressive than Newgrange. I said, excuse me. So they have these incredible carved stones all on the inside. Beautiful, amazing to see.
In Anglesey, you've got not kind of the Bryn Celyn as well. You've also got, but I'm going to say it wrong, Claudia de Gauris. And that's got rock art inside it as well. It's got little chambers inside.
Beautiful.
And we've got a key to it, haven't we?
Have we?
Yeah, because Chris took us in, didn't he?
I do.
Yeah, we're allowed to go in.
Very nice.
That's
Very
quite
nice.
cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, walking trees made you made your own stone circle in your backyard. Beautiful. So, get back to Wales now. You are a bit of a Corridwen nut.
I am.
Fanatic. Aficionado.
It's a
expert. Artist.
Yes.
Sculptor.
Yes.
So account for yourself.
Well, I've been working on a Corridwen sculpture for about 4 years, and it's come to a crescendo now. And the idea was to put her. I want to make her in bronze to go somewhere near the Lake Bala, Llyn Tegid. And so I've been on a mission to make her. I've now made her at 3.2 meters. She's standing on a cauldron with the legend of the myth around her, around the cauldron. And my aim is to make her in bronze, and which costs a lot of money. So I've now done a GoFundMe page. And my idea was to take her to the National Eisteddfod in Wales, because that's the only place it makes sense culturally, because she's of the land, she's about poetry, and she's about the Welsh language. And so there is the National Eisteddfod of Wales is the largest cultural event in Europe, and it's full of Awyn. It's singing and dancing and poetry, and there's a little bit of art. And art doesn't take a huge amount of space up, but I took Cerridwen in as a piece, and I got rejected. And so she is still going there because I've bought a stand for her to go on, and so I want as many people as possible to come and see her. I don't know where my stand's going to be yet, but she's going to be on a stand in a field somewhere in Wrexham, and it would be great if everybody come and see her.
So those dates, it's going to be August.
From the 2nd to the 9th of August.
Brilliant.
And you can, if you just go to Eisteddfod Genedlaethol on the website, you can buy tickets, and it's just the most amazing place. And there's music and dancing and Cynghanedd, and there's this thing called Talwrn, which is a battle of the wits in Cynghanedd, which is, it's like, the only way I can really describe it, it's like a science of words, and people spend their whole lives.
This is this Cynghanedd.
Cynghanedd is a sort of a very unique sort of Welsh poetry, and it's got several different variations and really, really strict rules. And when you win the chair at Eisteddfod, you have to be the master of Cynghanedd, and that's how you win it. And this is a quote from Christopher Hughes, but in Wales, the highest accolade you can get is not as if you're a politician, or not if you're a financier or a military leader, but if you were a poet.
Ooh.
And that is just the most fabulous thing.
I love that.
And she is, the piece is called Ceridwen Mam yr Awen, which means Ceridwen,
The
mother
of
of inspiration, or Awen. And that is, her job has been that through the whole of the Welsh bardic tradition.
Okay.
And so she's coming full circle by going back to the seat of the Welsh bardic tradition, which is the Eisteddfod. So that's it, really.
Well, yes, they were flying here last night as well. It's great to see. They're out early.
They are.
But I'm impressed with your tenacity, and it's a little bit like when you look at the story of Ceridwen, her determination to brew that potion, for a year and a day, gathering what was necessary, in desperation for her son, and that nothing stopped her.
Yes, yeah.
And the thing with your Ceridwen as well is she came to you fully formed, didn't she? Just didn't woke up. You said, just woke up and thought, I know what she's got to be.
So the one that's coming, that you're taking, what's she made of? Resin.
She's made of resin, but she needs to be changed into clay, into bronze, because she won't last outside.
Yeah.
She'll be okay for a week, fingers crossed. But she needs to be changed into a more hardy material. And
it's a particular moment as well, isn't it? Which I think makes it particularly special.
Yes. So I've chosen the moment. Everybody knows the story of Ceridwen, and that is from Halis Taliesin. Shall I say it? Shall I say the story? Okay.
Tell the story. Tell your version.
I will tell my version. It'll be
you tell the truth, the real version.
Yeah, it'll be a mishmash. So Ceridwen was a sorceress.
So you talk to those people over there.
Yeah, yes. The ones behind me in the U Avenue. She was a sorceress that was married to Tegid Boyle, who owned an area which is now around Bala Lake in Gwynedd. They had two children. One was called Creirwy, who was the most beautiful girl that ever lived, and they were twins. And so the boy was called Morfran, which means sea crow, but his other name was Avagddi, which means utter darkness, because he was so ugly or stupid. And she was, heartbroken that this was the case. And she thought, well, I'm never going to make him beautiful, but I can make him clever. So, because I'm a sorceress. And so she decided to create a potion to give him 3 drops of inspiration that would change him from what he is into a divine storytelling seer, almost. And so she brewed the potion with the help of an old man and a young boy called Gwion Bach, and they had to stir the potion for a year and a day. When the time came for the potion to be ready, everybody was sitting around the fire. Gwion was directed to give it one more stir. At that point, the 3 drops of inspiration flew up. They landed on his thumb. He sucked his thumb, although there are other things when he then he pushed more of her out of the way. But there's lots of different stories because it's such an old story. It's lots of different versions. At that point, he realised that two things: that he could transform, and the other thing was that Ceridwen was going to kill him. So that at that moment, he knew two things. So he changed into a hare, and he's running. She screams, changes into a greyhound bitch, and runs after him. And he's running, and she's just about to catch up. And he sees the water, and he dives in, becoming a salmon. She dives after him, becoming an otter. She's just about to get him, and he's scrambling up in the air. He's changing. He needs to come out of here. Becomes a wren. She becomes a hawk, and he's tiny, and his little wings are flapping, and she's gonna kill him. And he spies a huge pile of grain just on the shore, and he aims for the grain. And as he's going towards the grain, he changes from a wren into a grain. At that point, she changes into a huge red-crested black hen. She eats the entire pile of grain, at which point the grain that is Gwion, she ingests, but he goes into her womb and she becomes pregnant with him. I've chosen the moment. My sculpture is about the moment, and there's an English word called the quickening, and it's the moment where the life changes. And so it's a sort of moment of sort of biological ecstasy, if you like. But her arms are back, she's flung back in the moment of a sort of biological ecstasy, if you like. But it is the moment when she's changing back from a black hen into a goddess, but she's aware that the baby, she is now pregnant. And so there's all sorts of awarenesses going on there. But at that moment, she's both murderess and mother.
Yes.
And so it's it's just everything happens in that 1 second. So that's what it is.
And that's a wonderful paradox. I mean, we're all full of paradoxes and recognizing the murderer and the mother in all of us. I mean, it's a really interesting, it's quite humbling really if we look at that.
And we're all on a knife edge.
That's right. And how we can go one way or the other and we can make choices. But that is fascinating. Wow.
Yeah.
So,
wish me luck.
I Gunari Lath, as we say. It means may you rise, but it's usually that means may you succeed.
Thank you very much.
What it means rather than the literal.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Because you wanted back at Lake Bala, don't you?
I do. She needs to be there. There's nothing there that she's such an important, to the Welsh. She's like Robin Hood. You know what I mean? But there's no. I mean, there's the goddess temple there.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily Ceridwen.
Where's the goddess temple?
There is a Ceridwen
in Bala.
Yeah, in Bala. Yeah. But there's a sculpture of a bloke, in 19th century bloke. Well, of course, there's sculptures of 19th century blokes everywhere, isn't there? And it's just not. That is her land.
And will you? Okay, when you have completed her in bronze, is that a big challenge then to get permission to?
Well, I'm going to have to convince somebody to put her somewhere. Yeah, but I'm not. Making her was the biggest thing. Me making her. Taken 4 years. It was the biggest challenge, I think, and everything after that is she exists now.
Well, if somebody made a sculpture and said, Eimear, it really needs to be on your land, you say, do I have to pay for this?
No.
I would take it. So I imagine anybody else, if they were sensible, would say, wow.
It's also, from what you said last time when you were first thinking of it, it was going to be like a multi thing. It wasn't just the sculpture. There was going to be sound as well.
Yes, so at the Eisteddfod, our wonderful Christopher Hughes has recorded the original Hanes Taliesin in Middle Welsh for me, and I've got within the cauldron. I have speakers, and it comes out, and so you can. His voice comes out and he's just done the most amazing theatrical, brilliant rendition.
How can you say no to it?
I know you can't say no.
Can you say no?
And I imagine coming out of a cauldron, the sound,
the
resonance, coming from a womb, like structure coming out. Oh wow, that's going to be amazing.
And of course, it's in poetry again. Her relationship with poetry, and
place.
on her own land.
Beautiful. Just wonderful. Well, Nimi says Corrigan will guide you. So that is just so. Julie, you've been very quiet.
Yes, Julie.
Well, it's because I don't have anything like that, you see. I'm just her unpaid PR.
It's not true.
So,
have you heard of my friend Sam? She did these amazing sculptures.
She needs to be
really?
Okay, Poker, now speak.
You've done the poem.
Oh, do you want a poem?
Yes.
We're talking about Corrigan.
We're talking about poetry.
Poetry.
Your glasses,
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So when Eimear said how Sam had recklessly volunteered us to go and do anything this summer gathering, there were suggestions of a bardic offering, and I knew that Sam would have her Cerridwen stuff because that is kind of the focus of what she's been doing for the past few years artistically, and I thought I should really do something as well, and so I took my my inspiration from a quote from Robin Wall Kimmerer in her Braiding Sweetgrass book, which says, "Even a wounded world is feeding us. Even a wounded world holds us, giving us moments of joy and wonder. I choose joy over despair, not because I have my head in the sand, but because joy is what the earth gives me daily, and I must return the gift." So using that as a prompt, and thinking it was, it's Glastonbury, it's coming up to the summer solstice, which is why we've got such wonderful weather at the moment, that I would do something that was vibing on that. So I've got wheels within wheels. Each season dances around our mother, the earth, her eternal promise of renewal, reminding us that everywhere is sacred, that everywhere is the Holy Land. And now, at this time, this land is garlanded with beauty. We gather here as the warm, languid days of summer stretch ahead of us, revelling in the land's abundance, rejoicing in her all-encompassing love, and we know that we can hold this joy close to our hearts as the wheel turns again. We know that despite the sorrows of war and the greed of those who already have too much, even despite the wounding of our planet and the cries of nature, we can hold the beauty of our mother close to our hearts, and we can return her love and joy to all around us as thanks for her gifts of birdsong and sunsets and the hope of each new dawn.
Oh, it's just lovely. Beautiful. So this is composed for today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not a poet, and I'm always in awe of people who can write to order. It blows me away. That is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Really, really lovely.
Okay.
Oh, do you have any more?
No. Although Sam had the most wonderful. Sam had, because this is kind of Samland. Sam found a was it?
I was convinced.
R.S. Thomas
poem about Cerridwen about 2 months ago, and I thought, oh, this is amazing because it's bringing in poetry, and he's an English speaking Welshman who was obsessed with nature, and I thought this is exactly what. Anyway, I cannot find the poem. I think I manifested it or made it up.
Google doesn't know where it is.
And nobody knows it actually. Anyway, so that happened, and then I wrote another thing down, and I've lost the book in between coming out.
She was literally reading it to me this afternoon, going, "I've really like this, so as I can read it properly." I was going, "That's amazing," and it was again, it was something about like politicians and
statesmen with their hands full of stuff that will destroy us,
full of gifts,
and it was just amazing. It's gone.
Yeah,
it is.
I got her again. We need to go. And she's going, "Where's my book?" We looked at her.
Anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, some lovely reactions. We'll come to you now in a minute. Smiley faces, beautiful, and the bird song is there with you. I can hear it, but it's interesting. It's nice that it comes across. Beautiful, thank you, lovely. It's interesting to go back to before we come on to your recovery poem.
Point.
Just around, you were talking about Robin Wall Kimmerer, that not to give up, but it's not also. It's not turning your back on the pain, but it's also being able to turn towards. And I've mentioned Treby Johnson a few times on the chats, and she wrote Radical Joy for Hard Times, and how important it is not to lose our joy and to find it, even, and to look for the beauty even in damaged places. That is something about people say, I can no longer go there. You know, they dug it up or they cut the trees and it's ugly and it's too much pain. It's like, well, she says, don't abandon it. And it struck me when I read her book. It was like, you know, somebody has a serious illness or they have to get part of their body removed. They're no longer beautiful. They're wasting away. You don't say, oh my God, I was once in love with you and it pains me too much to see you the way you are. I'm off. No, you stay with them and hold them till the end.
Absolutely.
And there's something around us actually staying with the land. It's not colluding with the damage, but it's still not abandoning it.
It's seeing it and loving it anyway.
And finding, you know, in a pile of rubble, finding that little shoot, that little flower, because that is, there's a seed in there that has germinated, a seed of hope or of resilience or stamina and persistence, who just pushes its way up. And it's those seeds, be they plant seeds or human seeds or human saplings or animals, who they're the survivors. And it's important to be able to turn towards that and honour it and be grateful for it.
It is, and I think as well, I'd read somewhere that small children smile and laugh many times during the day, whereas by the time you get into your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, the amount of time that happens is vanishingly small. And I think it's just that continual astoundedness of being alive that little kids have.
That's this poem.
Which we need to grab hold of. See, I'm just...
Oh, that's segue.
This is why the book...
We are the Lauren Hardy of the Druid world. We really are.
I love that. So it'll come back. Somebody says it'll reappear, Sam. So Sarah says, I love the poem and the quote about choosing joy. And Liz says, I've always believed that hope is a choice. Thanks, Farscape. Nothing to do with logic or realist. But that quote is making me think that joy is a choice also. It is, Liz. Absolutely. I mean, I know when I've been faced with grief, I also chose joy as well. I didn't get rid of the grief, but it's like they can walk side by side. And it doesn't have to be either or. Right now in the world, it's so polarized. You're either with me or against me. It's like, no, we can be both and it's something about, it's true, it's holding that both and. You know, we talk about having one foot in this world and one foot in the other. It's not either or, it's both. And I think that's what we need to do, because then that allows us to navigate difference. Because you know, our difference can make things exciting and the similarities can hold us together. And between the two, I think it's beautiful. What's the name of the book again? The one Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Walkemer. The one I mentioned by Treby Johnson is Radical Joy for Hard Times. And Nimi says, absolutely, Liz. Holding the love and strength despite the knocks and falls, absolutely. Hang on to your inner child, says Beaker at work. I don't know if you're a potter. Anyway, so this is a nice segue to introduce this then.
So this is the poet who wrote the two poems that I have lost.
And they're not in this book.
They're not in this book. I know, nice try, but not, no. And it's R.S. Thomas, who was a minister, and he's a bit of an inspiration to me because he taught himself Welsh as an adult, and that's something that I'm constantly trying to improve in my life. And he wrote this wonderful poem about children. It's called Children's Song. We live in our own world, a world that is too small for you to stoop and enter, even on hands and knees, the adult subterfuge. And though you probe and pry with analytic eye and eavesdrop all our talk with an amused look, you cannot find the centre where we dance, where we play, where life is still asleep under the closed flower, under the smooth shell of eggs in a cupped nest that mock the faded blue of your remoter heaven.
Will you do that again?
Again?
Yes, please.
Okay. We live on our own world, a world that is too small for you to stoop and enter, even on hands and knees. The adult subterfuge. And though you probe and pry with analytic eye and eavesdrop all our talk with an amused look, you cannot find the centre where we dance, where we play, where life is still asleep under the closed flower, under the smooth shell of eggs in the cupped nest, that mock the faded blue of your remoter heaven.
Wow. Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's very good.
Isn't it?
Very succinct.
And to get back, like when, Beaker's work said, hang on to your inner child. And
exactly.
Something about being able to find that. And Druidry can allow us that magic that's suspending reality or logic. What's the phrase? And just going into that magical place and seeing those and just switching off your analytical eye and just looking at the magic and the wonder.
Yes, and actually experiencing it rather than judging it.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
So, Moira Nidu said it's about holding and entertaining different perspectives, views, feelings without the often destructive, polarised tendency people seem to be tilted towards in the world today. Picking sides and so on. It's never black or white. It's always something in between. Absolutely. Thank you. And that poem is just so beautiful.
It is, yeah.
Oh.
Yes, very, very, very lovely. He was utterly devoted to his wife, and he used to write poems about her all the time.
Oh.
And it just beautiful poems. Yeah.
Oh, it's sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, Robin says, actually experiencing without intellectualization. Okay, say it all at once very quickly. It's very Buddhist. And then Ricky said, well done, Ricky. Druidry, being given permission to refuse to add to adult.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm opting out.
Well, again, you see, it's both. It's like be the child and be the adult,
exactly.
and honor them both. You'll have heard me talk about Olivia Robertson. She was one of the co-founders of the Fellowship of Vices, and she lived in Huntington Castle. But she was also one of Philip's teachers, and she was also a friend of Nuan. So she was a friend of Nuan, friend of Philip, and a friend of mine. And she died at 96, and she was one of the most childlike people I knew. Not childish, but always had that childlike wonder. When she came to my house, she said, there's a vortex here, there's wonderful energy. So when her visiting nieces and nephews would come to the castle, she said, we must go to Three Castles. It's an enormous castle. It is, forgive my bad accent, it's enormous, and the energy is so, and she lives in a much bigger castle, and they've been coming up the driveway and go, is this it? But there was something that she tapped into. Because when you have these magical places as a child, and there was a huge tree, and there was a big, big stone, or whatever it was, and then you go back 20 years later and you go,
oh, yeah.
It's that thing, it's tiny, but that the wonder and the magic of that tree or the stone. And she always had that where she went, and she used to have that about where I lived. I'm thinking, because she lived in a much, much bigger castle. So I live in 3. She only had 1. But it was. Is this it?
Yeah, and kids
lovely.
can't show their It's that it's all over their face, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, and this happened a number of times where she brought nieces and everything. They told me this. They said, "I'm sorry, but
let's not compare." They say it with their faces, don't they? It's like your grandson the other day.
Well, it's not very good.
Brilliant. Nimi says, creeping in the hole under the hedge when my friend's son was little. Perfect joy. That's really being silly and just really taking off the adult veneer and being daft and getting in through a hole in the hedge is lovely. Oh, Robin says, I love this talk. Bad accents equal best accents. Magic is the state of mind. Yeah, but I hate people do a bad Irish accent. So I'm doing a bad, that was an Anglo-Irish accent, not an English one. So anyway, but it's that joy. And I suppose we do that when we dance.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know, when you're doing your sculpture, are you playful or are you intense and serious? With a child, I think, well, a young child who's creating something, they're creating a robot, or they're creating whatever it is, and it may not represent anything like it. And it's not so much that, and because they're able to hold magic in their minds, they can still see the castle or the robot or the engine they've made.
Yeah.
When all it is a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Whereas an adult, if you're an artist, you're more,
you get it beaten out of you. You do get beaten out of you through academic process. So if you're taught to be a sculptor or a painter or a drawer or a novelist or whatever, you have to go, in a way, you have to kill that. It is killed, and then you have to re-find it.
Yes. Okay.
When I was doing my the smaller version of Ceridwen, I actually I just started to sort of get to grips with tarot, and I asked every day. I picked a card and I said, "What have I got to concentrate on today?" So I've asked her all the time for guidance, and I think she's put me right.
Okay, so the guidance is from her.
From her.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't particularly want to do a sculpture of Ceridwen, if I'm completely honest with you.
She wouldn't let it lie.
She's not let it lie. Oh my goodness, no. I had another really big project come up. And I was thinking in my head, well, I'm not getting paid for this Ceridwen sculpture, so what I'm going to do is,
she owes you.
I'll put it to one side and I'll do this
40
project.
foot tall, wasn't it?
And it got rejected out of the blue. Completely rejected this job.
Amazing.
So I cannot afford to not do Ceridwen.
You rejected the job?
No, I did not. No. So I was doing this job, and then a really good commission came along, and it was ready to go.
And then they said no.
And they all of a sudden said no, because in my mind I'd said, I'm putting Ceridwen to one side. And she did not like that. And so I'm hoping I can do this job, and then I can get other commissions.
Okay.
I don't know.
It
might have just happened, but it felt very pointed.
Oh. Actually, Eunice, who's up in Orkney, loving the relaxed chat, feels like I'm actually in the circle with you all. Oh, it's lovely, Eunice. It's lovely to have you here. And then Robin, age propaganda is analytical thinking that saps creativity indeed. And then Francis, I assume you're in Finland, Francis. Nowadays, there are large shifts in academia towards combining science with art and spirituality, even in anthropology. Intriguing. And I'm not going to pronounce your name. Eremiticus is the first word. It's a Welsh one first. I recited a Ceridwen poem just yesterday for a poetry group. It's interesting, Francis, academia. So I taught in academia for 27 years. It was a small college in a development study centre. I taught human development, and I taught it to mainly African, Asian, a few South American, Irish and European, for people who worked in development, let's say third world development situations and community development. And I taught it from a modern perspective and from an indigenous perspective. And I used the writings of an African healer called Malidoma Samay from Burkina Faso. And I wanted... and Carl Rogers, because I'm a psychologist. So I was doing Carl Rogers and a few other, modern theorists. And I came across this book, Malidoma's book, The Healing Wisdom of Africa. And then I read his autobiography. I read 3 of his books and just swallowed them up. And I thought, I would love to teach this, but this is too akin to Druidry. And then that's me pushing my values on my students, and that wouldn't be professional, etc., etc. Anyway, I left it there, and then one year my external examiner says, you need to have some theorists from Africa. I said, that's it.
See, it comes. If you
came.
Yeah.
And so I was able to talk about his stuff and not mention Druidry at all.
No.
And it was just lovely. And that was in a third level, but in that place I had great freedom.
Yeah.
So it was around relationship skills, relationship building skills, your relationship with each other, because if you're going to be a development worker or a druid or a therapist or a teacher, relationship, or you're a writer, you have to relate.
Yeah.
And relation to the ancestors and nature and the landscape and ritual and all of that. And it was just brilliant.
And also, because I don't know if you know this, but young Sam here is also an author.
Oh, come on, Sam.
And yes.
Oh, that old
She
thing.
hates. She goes, Julie, shut up.
Okay, it's out now and it's on the air.
Got a trilogy called
Hiraeth.
Yeah, which is fabulous. And you and because Cerridon's been chasing you, she's also kind of wants to make an appearance in your next block as well.
What? How do you spell that?
Well, Hiraeth.
By Sam Holland.
No.
Well, my pseudonym, which is Liz Riley Jones.
Your pen name, darling.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Nom de plume.
Liz Riley Jones. Liz. How did you pick that name?
Well, because my dad is a Jones and my mum's a Riley.
She from Cavan?
No, her family had come from Cork.
Oh,
originally.
Okay. That's a trilogy.
Well, I think it's very good because you channeled all of it without knowing anything at all about druidry.
What brought me to druidry. My family my dad's family come from Ennismorn, from Anglesey, and we'd be going there for ever since on holiday. We'd all go up to Anglesey, and Julie had read my books coincidentally, and she said, "I can't tell you anything, but you have to join the ADO." Because it turned, we can't say too much, but it turned out that virtually everything that happens in my books, actually happens on the course.
And it's all about Welsh druids and Irish druids as well. It's really
that name is very familiar. It is
Hiraeth is a word. It's a Welsh word which means it's a very painful word in Welsh, but it means a sort of painful longing for home. It's much more than homesickness. It's a pain in your soul for home.
Have I been involved in a conversation about that? I don't know, because Oigness is loneliness, and there's something around that longing for home. It's an Irish word as well. Okay, I'm going to get that trilogy. Are you okay?
This is why she normally goes, shut up.
Oh, why not? Is that out of print?
It is actually out of print now.
Oh,
you can get it on Amazon. The thing is, you can get it on Amazon.
Anyway,
I can put it on my Kindle. I have a Kindle. It's going to do that tonight now. Okay. So Frances has answered my question. You're going to get over that.
I am over it.
So those of you who would like to get this book too. So France is still in the Arctic Circle, and there have been so many calls for reclaiming spiritual traditions which are characterized by art and spirituality. Earlier studies which have been influenced by Western thinking are being softened by Indigenous studies, and more people are learning about Indigenous perspectives on landscapes and art, which are so encompassed by languages. Beautiful. At the end of September, for the last number of years, I've been going to the Mishlore Festival, which is a festival in Galway, organised by the Galway Traveller Movement. Mishlore is a gammon or traveller word, cant word, meaning nomad or wanderer. So at this, I'm just blown away by it. So you have Irish travellers, you'll have Scottish travellers, Irish Roma, Welsh Roma, Sami, we've had Inuit, one Inuit, so it's Inuit is the plural, Mongolians, Aboriginal, and so people coming from nomadic cultures coming to this festival, looking at art. And of course, they all have the same story of discrimination and pain, and whatever colonizers always belittle the colonized and belittle their art, etc. Or I was just talking to a woman; she's a professor, I think, of ethnic studies in. She's a Romani Gypsy in the University of East Anglia. Sorry, Hazel, I've got your title wrong, but I know you're a professor of something there. And she's involved in, looking at collections of music. The collectors of gypsy music or traveller music, all interested in the music, but never the musicians and the singers themselves. It was, and this is where things get stolen.
Yes,
or
it is
appropriated.
collections, like a collection of butterflies, or
but what about actually the
culture.
masters of
yeah.
these? And it's nice that beginning to look at, you're talking softened by Indigenous studies, but also having Indigenous people. It's their voices that need to be heard, and that's what's allowing the masters themselves speaking rather than the academics. Now, to be fair, those who have gone and collected have ensured that things survive. It's a bit like criticising the Irish monks for having written all the stories through a Christian lens, but if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have had it. If they hadn't done it, we wouldn't have it. However, but now we're all enlightened. We can allow people their voice, and assuming that they can speak for themselves, and I think that's really, really important that we can do that. Yeah. So hi, Sharon. I don't know where you are, Sharon and Davina. Probably in Wales.
Hello.
Yes, they live in Penmine.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice?
They're ADOers.
Yes, when they're somebody's looking at you, looking at the telly, and it's really, really nice. So, what are you looking forward to? Okay, Glastonbury now. So, what is it about Glastonbury that you like?
I'm a bit frightened of Glastonbury.
Okay. Tell us.
Well, it's quite full on, isn't it? I mean, it's quite
out there.
I live on a boat in the middle of nowhere. So actually,
I thought you live in 3.
Oh no, only one. I only live in one boat.
Didn't you have one studio?
I've got a studio, but I don't.
Oh, that's 3. Yeah. Go on anyway.
But what I mean is, it's so Glastonbury's quite a bustling, busy town, and it's lovely. But I can only do it for 2 days. People,
woman, you lie.
But it is.
It is. So I've been here all day. I haven't gone into town. I thought no, because it's going to be full on from tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And you can't walk up the street without meeting somebody. But that's at the weekend we have a gathering. So I remember my first time I came twice in the early years of being an OBOT, but never had gone to a gathering. I did the ritual and meditation workshops which were run by Kate and Barry Riley. Now they're done by Matt McCabe and Penny Billington and Gary. God. Gary the Pirate. Anyway, it's gone from me. Sorry about that, Gary. And I came with Howard and the kids, and came in the camper van. And I remember driving on, I don't know, is it the A39? And you're driving, so you come off whichever motorway it is, because we come over on the boat. And then you're going up a hill, and then you look over, and there you see the Tor.
I know.
And
the Tor is incredible.
I was blown away by this. I had heard about Glastonbury when I lived in Lesotho in Southern Africa. I'd never heard of Glastonbury. And I was told it was the New Jerusalem, that energetically, the New Jerusalem, blah, blah, blah. And seeing the Tor just coming up. And again, this time, the other day coming over, I was looking out, and it was like that. I remember that beautiful moment.
It caught me by surprise this time. I wasn't looking for it, and then I looked up. Yeah, and that is great.
And then we were in the campsite, not this one, another one, and we decided, so we arrived a day before the course, and we were walking up the high street, and I thought, oh my God, we're in Diagon Alley.
Yes, it is that sort of thing, isn't it?
And, I was waiting to see more people with wizard hats and things, but it felt like it, and I thought, this is so strange, and I felt so concerned, because I wasn't dressed the way I dress now, and I thought, oh my God. Anyway, so the workshop was in Chalice Well, and so in I go, and I'm knocking on the door, and I go in, and I see ordinary people sitting around in a circle, and I say, am I in the right place? And it's the chest. And I'm looking, these are ordinary people.
Yeah,
I mean, they're druids, but they're ordinary people.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting beside a guy, and it was his first time in Glastonbury as well, and strange places. And I said, yeah, and he worked in IT, and I thought, druids in IT,
and we need more druids in IT.
It's all this kind of. I was a psychologist. I am a psychologist. That's kind of fairly mainstream as well. And the second time was And then I went to the Goddess Conference.
Yeah.
And that is a completely different energy to when Obot.
Yeah.
It is completely different.
And I liked the energy with Obot. Well, then it's because maybe I'm more at home because it's my order, as in I belong to the order. It's ours, you know.
Yeah. No, that's how. Yeah.
But I think that's the thing with it with Glasgow. I always thought when I first came here, you've got three distinct. There's probably loads more, but there's three distinct communities. You've got the pagans, you've got the Christians, and you've got the Muggles, and they all seem to just rub along
quite well,
and they don't mind each other. You know, they just kind of get on, which is lovely. Because the very first time I came here was my first husband. And he just stomped around muttering darkly about designer hippies. And the next time I came for my honeymoon with my second husband. And we stayed on the shoulder of Glastonbury Tor. And this amazing place. We found it, didn't we? We came back a couple of years ago. And run by this, I mean, God love her, this amazingly bonkers balmy woman called Isis. And she ran this place called Shambhala. And my sister had been years ago, and she said, it's really cool, Julie, because I'd come down in the evening and there was a man playing didgeridoo to the goldfish. And I was thinking, we need to go there. So Gordon had gone, let's go there for a honeymoon. So we went there for a honeymoon. And Isis had said she did our blessing outside on Glastonbury Tor. And we had to do it by this 7-pointed crystal star because she'd been doing a workshop inside and a thunderbolt had hit the ground and they all rushed out and it was marked by this 7-pointed crystal star. And that was really cool. And so and I love the idea of coming back, which I try to do quite often. So I'm a companion of the well, so I can come to do the little Michael's retreat house. You can come there and then you've got the garden to yourself. And I love the White Spring because I can't see very well. These don't work. I'm functionally blind and low light. So when I go into the White Spring, I can't look up and see the roof or the pipes or anything like that. I just see this magical dark womb-like space with just water everywhere and candlelight. And I love it. So I think it's really, really cool. And we came. So I brought you here for the first time a couple of years ago, didn't we? And we stayed again. The Shambhala is now called the Hare on the Hill, and you can go and stay. And I was going, that's the place where me and Gordon had our blessing right by that thing.
So it's great.
And it was beautiful. It was really lovely. So
Wow. Birdie, it says play Obod Bingo on Glastonbury High Street and see how many druids you meet on the way to your favourite shops. It's really hard. You can say, listen, I'm just going to nip up. I won't be long. So Nimi said one of the first conversations I had with my now husband 35 years ago, he told me about how he used to live near Glastonbury. So Val says, lovely to see you both, if only on screen. Beautiful. And then he says he took me there and then the rest is history. Lovely, Nimi. Very nice. So together 35 years. Brilliant.
And also, as well, because I came to Glastonbury Festival as a guest of the woman who used to run the theatre and circus field. And she was Arabella Spencer Churchill. She was Winston Churchill's granddaughter. And we met through a Buddhist group. And after going there, she said, well, come to the festival, Julie. So I've never paid to go to Glasgow Festival. And we'd always kind of turn up and, we'd have our little enclosure with her rather than sharing toilets with millions of people. And when she died, because she died about 6 months after Gordon, and I was invited back to do kind of, she had her funeral in Yeovil, and then we went back to Glasgow. We had the Glastonbury Town Hall, and her brother, Winston Churchill, kind of junior, he brought out all this Paul Roger champagne because that's what Winston had always drank. And it was wonderful because you had Sir Nicholas Soames, you had all these, aristocracy, and you had the crusties of Glasgow. Who just came in, and they were just kind of rubbing shoulders and drinking Paul Roger, and it was fabulous. And I was walking down to the Georgian Pilgrim, kind of en route it, behind Bill Bailey, because he went to school with Bella's husband, Haggis, who's a juggler, and they still live in Glastonbury. Well, Bella doesn't, but Haggis still lives near Glastonbury, and his daughter. And they still run the theatre and circus field.
That's lovely.
So,
Isn't that a lovely story?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, because I also famously, because I
don't think you should confess now.
Oh, well, it's too late now not to.
I know where she's going with this.
I don't think anybody that will be affected by this will actually see it. Because Bella was such an amazing person, and we both got invited over to Zoggenberra when Mary McAleese came to open it, the Spiritual Care Centre.
This is in Cork. It's a Buddhist centre, and Mary McAleese was our
president
before Michael D.
Fabulous one. And my husband had just died, and so I'd had a lot of time on school, and I'd only kind of been back maybe a month or two, and Bella said, "Do you want to go?" And I thought, God, yeah, I do go. So I had to pretend. I said my mother was dead, so that I could go whale watching with Winston Churchill's granddaughter and meet Mary McAleese.
I told you shouldn't have confessed that.
It's too late now. You've retired.
She goes, "Oh God, Julie, I can't believe you said that." Yeah, but that was really quite cool as well.
And did you see whales?
Yes. We went near Castletown Hen. There's a castle.
I've never seen them.
Oh, and there was a fin whale, and I heard it breathe, and I heard it breathe as it went down again.
My
it was
goodness.
the most. I thought, I don't care. That's something that that is.
That was worth the fib,
anything for.
It? I didn't say that. But it's brilliant. Yeah. I've never seen whales in the sea, and I've seen dolphins the odd time, but I've always missed them. Yeah. You know, there were lots. I'm on the sea on a ferry going someplace. There were lots of them yesterday, or they're there the day after, and I think it's not fair. It's the same with otters.
Well, up in the shrine room at Zoggenberra, because there's a big kind of semicircular floor to ceiling windows, and you used to be able to see humpback whales out in Bantry Bay.
Yeah.
So
there's lots of dolphins off Moelvra in Anglesey.
I've seen Fungi. Fungi was a dolphin in Dingle.
Dingle,
and I remember,
dolphin.
So that was 24 years ago. I was pregnant with my daughter, and we had two young cousins from America over visiting us. They were kids, and so we said we'll go down, and we went on the boat, and Fungi came, and as soon as he leaped into the air, Quaylen leaped inside. Oh, it was beautiful, and he was just lovely, and I know. People used to go and swim with him, but he was there for a long time. Then maybe another one came. And then there was another one that came up at Fenor, which is Clare, the beach. But that's, I had one dream a long time ago. I was swimming with whales. And I was quite nervous.
They're big.
I mean, you know, it's like there's the eye or whatever. And I was in the water with them. And I mean, they were not attacking me or anything, but I remember being, oh God, this is so exciting. So I'm scared. I'm so excited. And then I woke up, which was awful, you know. But the feeling has stayed with me. Yeah. It's a really magical dream.
But I took both my girls swimming with Fungi when we went to Dingle. And we didn't see him for ages. And it was because he was just swimming around their feet and their legs and stuff. And every time he did jump up, of course, old digital cameras. By the time we'd taken a photograph,
you missed it.
He'd gone.
Yeah.
So this kind of crusty old chap who owned the boat, he just let the girls jump into the sea from the top of the cabin. No health and safety.
Health and safety third.
Throwing themselves off. It's brilliant.
Brilliant. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, listen, it's been such a joy having talking here, and the weather, thankfully, has stayed benevolent.
Yes,
the gods were with us. Thank you. And you can hear I'm sure some of you can hear the bird song. Just beautiful.
The sun's just setting over there. Look.
Yeah, it's actually we can see the sun because
we can.
Brilliant. So I'll let you say good night to everybody.
Good night, everyone. Lovely to see you.
So thank you so much for joining us and joining us for our very, I suppose, conversation very tone. And this is I've had two people on the screen, but this is the first time we've managed to have three and to have it outdoors and with a real campfire and listening to birdsong, etc. So it's just been so lovely. And Jane, miss you too. You should be here, but you're not anyway. But we'll see you soon in Canada in July. So lovely to be here and to have you all join us. So until we meet again, if any of you are in Glastonbury this weekend, I shall see you. And otherwise, see you the next time. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time for another chat. This time it'll be indoors, I assume. I think it'll be indoors, yes. But anyway, I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, thank you to the birds too. Yes, isn't it lovely to hear them? Just beautiful. Because we're here on the Somerset levels. So there's a hedge here, and then there's a stream, and then what would have been once during going way back, this would all have been flooded. And the Tor is that way. And so this would have been all magic. So now it's kind of reclaimed because of the drainage, but it's lovely. So anyway, thank you all for joining us, and until we meet again, Slán go Fóill, have a wonderful June. May you get the weather you need. We did need the rain, I have to say. We did need the rain. So but I would be happy now for a little bit more sunshine, just a little bit. Won't be too demanding. What'll happen will happen, and what'll be will be. So until we meet again, Slán go Fóill.